What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another live stream. New month, new week. Very excited for this month. Yeah, thanks for joining. So let's have a look at gold to start with. So on the weekly, last week we closed bearish, and I believe on the monthly as well. Let's have a look. On the monthly as well, we closed below these levels. Okay, so I would say there's a pretty decent chance we're gonna push up a bit maybe, and then maybe continue down to fill this wick this month. But I mean, it's too hard to tell. That's why I don't look at the monthly really. It's just interesting, I guess, to sort of look at it every now and then. But if we look at the daily from yesterday, I didn't trade yesterday, but we closed bullish, but we did sort of come and respect this level over here. Okay, so in order for me to take sells today, we're going to need a range 2 breakout, and to take buys, I think there's a decent chance we can fill this range above here to fill that wick. Okay, it doesn't mean we're going to close above this level, but I think there's a decent chance we can push and fill that range. If we scale down 4 hour, we can see a nice uptrend, and potential wick to fill. 1 hour, we can see we have some support that's been created here. So if we now start breaking this resistance that we have, we can maybe continue on to push and fill this range. Okay, so 30-minute similar, 15-minute quite similar as well. Okay, so just a nice simple push, new high, support created, we push now and we break the highs. Okay, so potentially if we break and close above this level here, we have clean range to the left, at least sort of 14 pips to break even, and 30-40 odd pips to a target. But we need a closure above first. We have created a bottom wick on the hourly, although it's not huge. But yeah, that's the plan, to have buys above here, because we're in an uptrend. If we break these highs, we got clean range to the left. It just looks nice and simple. Okay, not too concerned with the hourly. We have a nice sort of level to use as our stops to the left here. So yeah, that's the plan with gold. In terms of sells, if we want to look for sells, we're going to need a range 2, which means that we're going to need this to break out of here and then another range to form. Maybe we could look at sells below here, but at this stage, it's still just down here. Okay, so simple. Let's see where this 15-minute closes. It could potentially be off the rip, or we could use a break of this current high. And stops would be below the previous hourly low. So it looks something like this. But let's see what happens. Got to wait for a closure in 5 minutes first. Okay. GJ's been a bit boring. It's just ranged. So yeah, there's not much we can do with GJ. We can see the daily, we pushed bullish. Yesterday we did have no bottom wick, but yeah, it's hard to tell where this is going to go now because we're very much just ranging. Like if I'm trying to take trades in here, very hard to pick a direction. So I'm just going to be waiting until we get breaks below here, because we have clean range below here. And to the left, we have all-time highs for something like 10 years or something. Last time we were here was 2015. Okay, and I can't even see on the lower time frames how this is looking. So yeah, I'm just going to assume it's decently clean range, and potentially we can have buys above there. Okay, so yeah, very simple plan. We just got to wait now. The reason I'm not looking for anything, like for instance below here, is because first of all, you can just sort of see we're very much in a range. Okay, so if we're just in a range and price is breaking below here, there's a much lower chance that it's just going to continue to push, like, because there's no real direction in the market. The market could sort of come and do this and this and this, and then, but if we break out of here, there's a good chance this range has been broken out of, and then I think we have clean range to continue down to there. Okay, so not really looking at much on GJ. Let's see how gold's traveling, looking good. How big is this wick? 3 pips. So it may be worth just waiting for a break of the highs. Let's see what happens here. But yeah, I'm not really going to get involved in GJ. Technically, you could look for sales below here, but like I said, yeah, it's just not really worth it. Because if we look here, this is still only 10 pips to there, another 10 pips to there. Yeah, it's not really worth it. So I'm likely just going to wait for GJ. But let's see how gold closes in 2 minutes here. As always, guys, just remember, this is not sort of advice or a guaranteed win or whatever. This is just my trading. So don't just take it and expect a win. Because if you look at my trading, I'd still lose. I definitely still lose. We took a break even this morning on gold during Asia, which I'll break down in just a second. And we ended June quite nicely. We had, on Friday, we had 2 trades, 1 break even, 1 win. Literally right after each other. We got stopped out of break even, but then we had a 30-minute closure. And yeah, I'll break those down in a second. Let's just see where gold closes here. We could, realistically, could wait for a 30-minute closure here. 30-minute closure, potentially to close something like this. We close bearish with a bottom wick, then break the highs. But let's see where this closes. How big is this stop now? 17-ish pip stop. Oh, calm down, Goldie. Of course, it's just pushing now. Let's see what happens. Oh, calm down, mate. Hate it when that happens. You're about to enter, looking good, and then it just goes on and fills the range in the last minute. Alright, I'm gonna wait and see if we can create a bottom wick here. And then potentially flip and break these highs. We could have break-even range right about here. Let's see how this goes. So I'm going to wait to see if we can create a bottom wick. Then potentially we could take it on the flip. But if we just push and break these highs, I may just enter our stops below the hourly low. So about 19, 18 pips. So let's see how this closes. Okay, so we have closures below now. I believe we're breaking the highs. Go on, create a bottom wick. I'm just waiting to see if we can create a bit of a bottom wick. But likely if we break these highs, I'll enter a buy position. Ugh. So I'm not in here. It just jumped. So yeah, I'm not in a position here, unfortunately. It's pretty frustrating. the chances of a 15 creating absolutely no bottom wick is quite small, but shit like that happens, I guess. That's unfortunate. I don't think I'm going to be able to take this now. I wanted to see a little bit of a bottom wick, just so we could sort of have a better entry, because if we take buys straight away, there's a good chance we could come down first. It's pretty annoying. But yeah, I'm not in a position. But if anyone took this, yeah, there's no reason for you expect price to continue pushing further than this. So I'd be at break even as we push here. And yeah, I'd have stops below the hourly low. It's so annoying. We could still take the 30-minute. We'll see how this 30 closes. But well done to those guys that got in. I'd be at break even right now. And in terms of TP, how far is this? 12 pips, maybe take something off there. 25 pips, maybe take something off there. Wow, that's annoying. Oh well, you know, there's no point being upset about it. It's gonna happen again. It's just part of trading. But yeah, I really wanted to see this create a bit of a bottom wick just so we could enter like on the break of the high, because often when price just pushes without creating a bottom wick, it comes back to create a bottom wick. So I just wanted to see a bit of a bottom wick, but yeah, it's pretty annoying. Oh well, move on. There's no point dwelling on it. Let's move on. Okay, so let's see how this 30 closes. GJ doing nothing. Potentially we could take a wick fill here on the 30, but yeah, it doesn't look. It looks like we've missed the move now. There's 12 pips for you. Frustrating. Oh well. What's my win rate with this? It's around 75-80% in total. This was June, 80%, but that's sort of break even is counted as a win, because I mean you don't lose anything. July I've taken one trade, one break even. And that's all the data I have on this system so far. I have back tests, which I'm slowly building up over time. So you can see here, July in GJ 2022, 83%. Here, gold, July, which isn't finished yet, but 76%, 70%, and 81%. So probably around 85-ish%. Frustrating. Hopefully you guys see that, you know, the things that happen in trading, that happen to everyone, you know. I know sometimes you feel in trading like the market's against you and you have some annoying things happen, but it happens to everyone. You know, it's just the market. The market has no feelings towards you or anything, and it just does what it wants. And if you start taking things like this personally, you just gotta get over it. Like, I always say this, but situation like this where I want to take a buy and we just didn't quite get exactly what we wanted, but the analysis was right. it's going to happen again. Okay, so there's no point being upset about it. It's going to happen again. So we just got to move on. We should do a backtest session looking at no bottom wick, top wick at time of high probability. Like, yeah, that's something I've been looking at. Especially on the 15-minute, if there's no top wick or bottom wick and it breaks the highs, and then you just use the previous lows as stops, like, it's still very high probability. I mean, I even said that. To be honest, I probably should have taken this, because I said if we break the highs, I should take this, but then it just jumped. So yeah, technically you could take this, because you already have a bottom wick on the hourly right here. Okay, so even though if the 15 doesn't create a bottom wick, if you break the highs of this, then there's a good chance of continuation. But yeah, I wanted to take it on the break of the highs, but it just sort of jumped. It was already here it was like a second, and then it was already here. So that's unfortunate, but yeah, especially during London and New York, it's very important, I think, to use buy stops and sell stops, not sort of say, oh, if it breaks this high, like, because right then I said if it breaks this high, I'll enter, and then it just jumped and the entry was gone. So it's important that you realize this is a time of high volume and price could just jump past your entry, and then that entry's gone, especially on something like gold, which will just run away from you, as you saw right here. Do I use break and retest strategy or left that? Well, I guess it's sort of similar. You can see here, we have a push, retest, continuation. Same sort of thing, I guess. It's just a different way of looking at it. But yeah, it's still a break and retest, or whatever you want to call it, because really it's all the same. You know, you got your fib, comes back to key levels. Smart money, if you look on the 5-minute, there's probably a level of support that's been created right here. If we take that away, you can see here, and then price goes back, wicks out, liquidity grabs, whatever, and then continues bullish. It's this pattern that is very common in the market. A push, a little bit of a consolidation, and then a push down, and then a continuation. So it could be a break and retest, it could be fib, it could be smart money, it could be whatever. But point is, it happens often. Yeah, so that's what hesitation can do. I must admit, I was a bit hesitant on that trade. Maybe, I don't know why. Maybe I was a bit just not ready. It sort of came at me quick, or the live stream. But yeah, I really should have taken it on the break this high. Should have put buy stops, but we just hesitated a bit, I think. If that trade lost, we wouldn't be having this conversation about entering without a bottom wick. Well, yeah, that's fair enough. The only reason I'm talking about it is because I said if it breaks this high, I want to enter, even if we don't create a bottom wick. But I would have liked to seen a bottom wick. But yeah, like I said, if it breaks the highs, even if it doesn't create a bottom wick, it's still a valid trade because the hourly already has a bottom wick. If this hourly didn't have a bottom wick and I was complaining that we should have entered because it won, then that's wrong. But the hourly has a bottom wick. You can see in my backtest, if you look here on the 15-minute close, almost all my entries are impulse. Impulse, 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 which means as soon as that 15 closes, I enter. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I just hesitated a bit. I wanted to see a bottom wick. But yeah, oh well. Let's see what happens. But that's a valid point. Yeah, I guess if it lost, we would have been a bit happy because we would have waited for the bottom wick. But yeah, that's how we learn. Well done if anyone took that. GJ getting some move on. That would be an off the rip entry, which is valid, yeah. So yeah, I think it comes down to I hesitated a bit because I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure before the trade I said, if it breaks these highs, even if it doesn't create a bottom wick, I want to enter. It was just that it jumped, and then entries would have been like up here with spreads as well. Stops would have been like 21 instead of 16 or something. Yeah, but enough's enough. Let's move on. The best thing we could have done is just put buy stops at the break of this high, or just enter off the rip. Stops below the hourly low. So even if this 15 wicks down, you should be sweet. But yeah, I think this move is gone now. I don't see us. Maybe this 30 wicks down, but I don't think so. That was an exciting start to the week, at least. Good point, brings for a good discussion. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, but I think according to sort of my rules, which is if it breaks the highs, like I said, and it doesn't create a bottom wick, then you should be able to enter because the hourly already has a bottom wick. But yeah. All your trading is based off limits and stops. Yeah, that's a good way to trade. Because it removes that that sort of doubt. If you enter and you got to deal with it, which is often better than hesitating. But yeah, let's break down these trades I took last Friday and the one I took this morning. So last Friday we had gold breakouts and a break even. This was really interesting. I actually took this in the car on the way back from the AFL in Australia, and it was pretty crazy because I don't usually do that, but I saw it and I was sitting in the back of an Uber and I was 100% focused. I looked at the news as well, and I'd been looking at it the whole night, and then I saw it come into play and I was like, you know what, let's take this. Okay, so where was it? It was, let me see here. Let's see where this thing was. So that was break even this morning, and then where was this? When was this? 28 June. This is confusing the fuck out of me. Let me just see what the hell's going on here. Why is it? What the fuck? Am I tripping out, or did I take a loss? Well, this is a loss. Oh, it was on GJ. This was on gold. This was this trade. Right, okay, that's why I'm wigging it. Hold up. There we go, that makes more sense. So we had the break even here, which if we look on the 15, so this was on Friday. So the 15 closed above here, and there was clean range to the left, and we wanted to take the wick fill. This was the last 15 of the hourly. So this was an impulse entry. We entered straight away. Hourly had a bottom wick, and we went break even, I believe, at around here, just because it was an hourly, and then we came down. Okay, and then it ended up being a 30-minute that closed above right here. And then we entered on a wick down, we flipped, and then break even here, and then so that was a nice trade to finish off the month. But yeah. And then the gold trade we took this morning was pretty simple. We just had a 30-minute breakout. We came down and then entered on the flip, went break even at the fill of this wick. So very simple trade, but yeah, it went break even, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, it went break even. That was so confusing. I thought for a second I took a loss when I thought I took a win, but yeah. We were looking at this gold trade. Yeah, so what we can do now is technically I'm just gonna wait for price to create a bit of a retest. Sort of what we did here. Come back down, create support, and then continue. Or if price comes down strong enough and then create support, we can take potentially buys to fill this range here. Wow, it ended up moving very nicely. 13, 15 pips. And GJ is just chilling. How did everyone's... The gold trade? Yeah, sure. Yeah, it is a bit confusing on the MetaTrader. So it was just here. Where was it? Oh yeah, it's just here. Okay, so if you break this down in terms of the level was here. Okay. If you look at the daily, if you start from the top, obviously Friday or Monday, pardon me, you closed bullish. Okay. You had a nice wick to the top. So if during Asia you push down and then flip on the daily, there's a good chance you can at least continue a bit more bullish. If you then look 4 hour, you had a nice little support forming wick. Hourly, it all sort of matches up. And then you get I actually entered on the 15. So the 15 broke out above. You had a nice wick on the hourly. So down here, you had a nice bottom wick. And then I entered on the flip of this after this candle came down, created a bottom wick. This was a 15 closure. The next candle came down, created a bottom wick. And I got triggered in from spreads when price pushed right up to here. But I'm only going to close if the 30 closes below, because at this point here, we had a 30-minute closure above. You can see right there. Okay, so that was a 30-minute closure above. And I wanted to go break even at the fill of this wick. We pushed up, filled this wick, went break even, and then we came right back down. So really, you could have just entered on the 30. 30 broke above, and then you enter on the flip, break at the high. But yeah, I got pushed in because of stops, spreads up here. But yeah, happy with that trade. But you got to go break even at the fill of a wick, because realistically price rejected this area before, so there's a good chance you can reject it again. And it ended up being right. So yeah, now we just got to wait for a bit of a pullback. We don't have any news, I don't think. No. So yeah, we're just chilling now. Yeah, that was an interesting trade. Interesting thing that just happened there. I haven't hesitated in a while. I don't know why. Interesting. So I have like here you have an impulse entry, impulse, impulse, impulse. I mean, even if you go break of high or low, previous break of high or low, that doesn't require a bottom wick, especially if it's on the 15. Obviously I'd prefer it, but yeah, I really should have taken that. Would the near resistance be moved up to 1322.366? What's this on? Oh, 1922. Yeah, so as this happens, technically you can wait for a break above here. But this was during no man's time. Like, it wasn't Asia, it wasn't London, it was just nowhere. Plus, you didn't really create a bottom wick. But yeah, technically you could wait for breakout above here. But we had the break, and then technically this pattern right here, I think I've said this a few times before, but where you see price breakout and then the next candle creates a bearish sort of rejection with a long tail wick at the bottom, that's when I can have impulse entries at the break of the high. So technically you could wait for a breakout here and then enter on the break of the high with stops below the 15 minute. That would be a head tail. So that's the entry for a head tail. So you get a breakout and the next candle does that, and then you can enter at the break of the high. They usually have a very good win rate. Head tail, win, head tail, win, head tail, win. Yeah, head tail, win. Usually they have quite a good good win rate, or break even rate at least. That was, yeah, if you look at the trade from Friday, was it right here? Yeah, that was the trade from Friday right here. So you broke the highs and then continued bullish. Do I mean head tail while it was forming or after it closed? Well, you could wait for it to close. Because there's a few ways you could enter this trade. Like if I was in replay mode, actually let's do it. Why not? Let me just hide this or delete it. So if you go in replay mode, let's say we go here. Okay, so first of all, we got our levels marked out here. We got a bullish previous close on the daily, if we ignore that, obviously. So that means you only need a range 1 to take buys because there's a good chance price is going to continue bullish. Then you go down to the 15, you can see you got your levels here. You go forward, that wicks. So this is an hourly open. So you get a nice, very nice bottom wick on the hourly. Okay, then you go forward, you get a 15-minute closure. Notice this doesn't have a big bottom wick, but the hourly has a nice bottom wick. Okay, so if you can imagine the hourly candle, it would look like this right now. The hourly would look like that. So you got a nice sort of retest here and then a continuation rejection. Okay. So this is a 15-minute closure. At this point, I say, if this creates a bottom wick, okay, if this creates a bottom wick and then flips, I can take the fill of this wick, okay? Or we can wait for, if it doesn't create a big bottom wick, we can wait for a 30-minute to close, and then we can wait to take that, okay? But then you see it went down, created a bottom wick, okay, and I had buy stops here, and we got triggered in because of spreads, okay. But let's say you didn't get triggered in here, you could still hold here because now you have a head tail closure, but at the same time it's also just going to be a 30-minute flip, okay, because the 30-minute has now closed above, the 30-minute creates bottom wick and then flips. So yeah, I don't know if that made sense, but yeah, that's sort of how I approached it. And I obviously didn't close right here because you had the closure above still, you had the rejection. But yeah, if you watch my simulations, it should, like, there should be a few where I'll explain it as I go. I'll do a few more simulations and post them on YouTube, because I think they give a lot of value if you watch them like entirely. Maybe a bit boring, but you'll pick up the way I trade very quickly if you watch those simulations. So yeah, so we got some resistance right here, which is our nearest resistance. So now you just gotta wait for something to either pull back or a new support to form and then a breakout. We do still have 27 pips to the top. And GJ is still just chilling. I have good attention to detail. Are these the things you noticed yourself, or did someone teach you this? Well, thank you, first of all. I guess it's a mix. I learned from a lot of different people, but I guess you just sort of, you pick things up from sitting at the charts every day, and things like this, like what happened today. Like I missed out on this. And it starts to, you start to just realize these little things. But it's also a lot from back testing and simulations. And it's also from other people. So it's a mixture. I don't think you can have, it'd be very hard to create a system like this or a similar system purely from your own knowledge. I think it would take a lot of experience and a lot of understanding of price action and how price moves, but it could be done. But yeah, I've learned a lot from other people. I started learning this strategy, like this particular breakout strategy where you wait for wicks and you wait for whatever from Raja Banks, just from watching his, let me get it up. Simply just watching these videos. They were very good, and the reason I sort of stuck with it is because before that I was using what do you call it, I was using 2 candle theory from Rox FX, because that was the only course I've entered, and that was like, it was like $400 or something. And he was one of my first ever mentors, Forex FX. I'm sure you guys have heard of him. So yeah, I used that for a bit, but I don't quite think my mindset was developed enough, because the system worked. It just, it was still like a normal trading system where you're going to have drawdown, you're going to have bad weeks or bad months, which is like most systems. And I just don't quite think I was apt to handling that yet. And so I changed strategies again. Similar to the break and retest I used at the start of my sort of trading journey. I think it definitely worked. And I think if I traded it now, I could definitely make money. But like any system, it's going to take drawdown and it's going to take periods where you're not making heaps of money. But I don't quite think my mental edge was quite developed back then. So if I took a loss, I'd start freaking out and start changing my strategy and doing all this stuff. So yeah, but main people I've learned from: Raja, RoxFX, Trader Nick, in terms of his just sort of his business and his viewpoints in the trading industry in general as well. Stop Loss Matters, I learned a lot from his live streams. He trades very similar to me. And Don Vo as well. Don Vo is, yeah, he trades the 5 minute on gold. He's very good, and yeah, you just sort of pick things up that they do. I learned I started doing the sort of range 2 breakouts from the daily candle breakdown from Don Vo. I saw that on one of his live streams where he waited for a 2 range breakout, and then I went to look at it in the charts and I was like, holy shit, this is actually so true. Like when the daily candle, when you're trading against the daily candle, so for instance, if you wanted to take sells today on GJ, I'd wait for 2 ranges before taking a sell, because the first range often fakes out and goes in line with the daily. So yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, that's just I guess from years doing this, showing up every day, you just sort of learn it, I guess. But yeah. How did everyone go in June? I think June was a decent month. Had some nice moves. I think Null Sector, I think you said you had a decent June. How'd everyone else go? Overall price action is king. Yeah. I think I've said this before, but like the strategy I use now is very much just a combination of all the systems I've used in the past. It's like, yeah, you just sort of start putting it all together, and there's something that happens. For me, it was simulations where it just clicked, like it all started coming together, and I realized if I'm making money month after month in a simulation, like in a backtest, and in a simulation you can't really cheat. Like in a backtest you can maybe say, oh, but I would have done this, I would have done that. If this happened, then I would have done this. Whereas in a simulation, it's like, no, you didn't do that, so you can't take it. And I was just like, if I'm making profit month after month for 4 months now, what, like, there's nothing stopping me from just continuing it in the live markets. And yeah, that's what I've been doing for like 2-3 months. But yeah, I'm still very far from where I want to be and where I think I can be, but yeah, it's coming together. Wow, it's just rubbing it in our face now, isn't it? I'll be back, guys. Oh, Goldie. Took 5 trades in June. I'm down 0.1%. Pretty much break even. Yeah. Well, that's good. I was at break even for, I reckon, like 6 months. If you look at my Instagram, I made this post. And I know this isn't big. It was only like, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. I'd love to compare it, but I don't have this account anymore. So yeah, unfortunately I don't have this account. But yeah, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months of just being a break even. And then I sort of just started slowly getting it back to consistent. So you just got to keep on going, you know? That looked like 2 months. Was it? I don't think so. Oh, yeah, it was. Well, it kept going for like 4 months. Yeah, sorry, that's my bad. But it was like 4 or 5 months, maybe 5.5 months of just being break even the whole time. So yeah, I think every trader goes through that. Everyone that I've seen has a stage where they were at break even for like months, maybe even a year, and then as long as you stick at it, it just starts to, I wouldn't even say I'm completely out of that break even range. I think I still have a long way to go before I could call myself a consistent profitable trader, because I've only had about 3-4 months now of actual gains. And 2 of them weren't with this strategy. So I've only been trading this strategy really for a month. June was a 9% month for me. Wow, that's very good. You said you were a full-time trader, weren't you? Null sector, I believe. Jealous. Right, so if Goldie can create resistance right here by closing bearish, and then if we close above here, then we can look to fill this range. So let's see what happens, but we have to get a closure here first. Oh, it is bank holiday as well. I didn't even realize. Well, gold's moving nice. So I'm not too concerned about that. Maybe New York, I probably maybe won't trade gold. But GJ should be sweet. It's moved really nicely today. Nice bottom wick on the hourly. Yeah, full-time, launched this system full-time from start of June. May was 25%. Wow, that's very impressive. Well done. Account's still relatively small at 40k. Yeah. Well, that's not small, to be fair. It's not that small. And I honestly, like you said there, capital isn't really an issue anymore in this industry. If you can get consistent returns, realistically, if you can make 3 to 10% a month, every month or most months, you'll never work again in your life, because you take 2-3 months to get funded, then you do it again with a trade copier or whatever, and you just keep building your funded accounts, and you make 3 to 5%, 3 to 10%, whatever it is, you'll be raking it in. That's the goal. I mean, even like 1 to 5% a month would be fine. It's just getting funded is obviously hard, because most of the targets are like 13% in total. At minimum, 13%, because you usually have 8% challenge, 5% verification, or 10% and then 5%. So yeah, the thing is, with the situation here on Goldie, the toughest part of this session will be, we feel like we missed out on this trade, and then the exact same setup could happen here, where we push down, create support, and then close above, and then we could lose. And yeah, that's the hardest part of today, I think. That could happen, is we can see the exact same setup here, and we could take the exact same entry, and we could lose. So, and we just got to deal with it if it happens. Yeah, no, I get what you mean. I know you don't think it's nothing, but I get what you mean. Don't worry. So 4 minutes to see if we can create some resistance here. GJ is literally not moving. What happened to the cash rate this morning? Stayed the same. Wow. So we still got very decent range to the top here. And just because like gold's pushed doesn't mean it's not going to continue pushing, you know. Can't be scared of entering because we've already had quite a big push. Like if it meets the criteria, we're going to enter. But we first need to see price create resistance here, and then we can continue a push. You feel like you're too far from structure, but then again, yeah, you should trade what you see, not what you feel. Like, it's a valid point, but that's why we're waiting for this retest. We're waiting for price to create resistance by closing bearish, because then if we close bullish, we'll be creating support. So like here, we came down, we already had a big push, we had a little retest, support created and resistance created. So then if you break above that resistance, there's a good chance you're going to continue up. So yeah, you just got to sort of trust the system there, I guess. But that's why we're waiting for this 15 to close bearish and then break the highs. Because then we'll have resistance formed and then support formed because we're rejecting this level. You can also see we have like a little bit of confluence here and here. Nice level to break above. This thing could also though just push up and fill this range in one candle. So yeah, I gotta wait for a break and closure above here. But now we formed the resistance here, so if we break above, we can have buys. GJ is not moving. I'll be back. I'm on mute. My bad. So we got a nice resistance here. Let's see if we can break the highs. So what we can learn from what happened here earlier is, let's say for instance, this 15 closes above. If we get rid of this and we look like this, and with a little bit of a top wick, okay, either we wait for, so this, let me redo this. There's a few things that can happen here. If the top wick is only 20 pips or 2 pips, pardon me, you may as well wait for the break of the high, okay, because there's a higher chance price could push above here and sort of wiggle around and then continue down without ever breaking the highs, and you only miss out on 2 pips, okay, so may as well wait for the break of the high, okay. That, if you break the high, because the hourly already has a bottom wick, okay, you don't have to wait for a massive bottom wick on the next 30. On the 30, I do like to wait for a bottom wick. On the 15, it doesn't have to, okay? So either we wait for a bottom wick and then enter at the break of the high, or if it's not a bottom wick, we enter at the break of the high, okay? And that's when the wick that we're filling is not very big. For in this case, only 2 pips. So you may as well wait for the break of the high, okay? If price closes like this with a very big bottom wick, okay, so let's say this is 6 pips, I like to use this as my break-even level, okay, so that's why I wait for first a bottom wick to form, okay, and then a flip, and then you can enter on the flip to fill the wick and a continuation bullish. Technically, you could still go at the break of the high if this doesn't create a big bottom wick and it just goes to fill the range straight away at the opening of the candle. But then you got to make sure the stops aren't big enough, aren't too big. So like if the stops are like here, it's fine, but if it's like 30, whatever your risk management is, you just got to make sure the stops aren't too big. Okay. So yeah, that's how I sort of look at my entries. Either if we look here, we can break down each entry. So the break of the high or low of the previous candle would be if price just closed like here, okay, you may as well wait with barely a top wick like this. You may as well just wait for the break of this high, okay, or it could even be that you decide to wait for the break of this high because there's a lot of wick rejections here, okay. So you wait for the previous candle or a candle in the past to break a high and then you can enter there. If you look at another one, an impulse entry is taken when most of the time off a 15-minute candle. Like for instance here, when the hourly and the 4-hour has already created a bottom wick. Okay, so you can see here the 4-hour had a bottom wick, the hourly had a bottom wick, okay. Then the 15-minute breaks and closes above. You don't need another bottom wick because the hourly and the 4-hour already has a bottom wick. And a lot of times a 15-minute can just jump like it did here and you miss out, okay. But yeah, I don't know what happened. We hesitated, I guess. So that's an impulse entry. Most of the time, it could also be off of 30, but most of the time just off of 15. A head tail is the one we talked about earlier, where price breaks out of a level, like here. So we broke out of this level, okay, and then price closed like this, where we closed bearish, but we rejected the level. So you close bearish, but you reject the previous level, and if you break the highs, you can continue bullish, okay? So your entry would be here, okay? Happens quite often. Where's another example? Here's an example right here. This one didn't work out that well, but you get a break above a level here. Well, this one doesn't really count. Maybe, let's say there's a level here. You get a breakout. The next candle closes with a big bottom wick, but respecting the previous level. You can enter it on the break of the highs, or break of the candle open, pretty much, okay? Next entry is the flip. So this is the one we talked about before. GJ may be coming down. The one we talked about before, where you have a wick to fill. So if price is closing like this, and you have a, let's say this is a 12 pip wick to fill. If the next candle comes down first and creates a bottom wick, you can enter on the flip, which will be right here, to fill the wick. Okay, so the candle will end up looking like this. An entry would be right there, okay, on the flip. I think that's it, or is there another one? Head, tail, flip, and then break of high or low of current is the exact same as previous, except you just wait for the break of the current candle. And I mean, to be honest, there's still some things I need to figure out. Like, each time I trade, I'm not 100% sure exactly which entry is best, because I'm still new to the system, and I mean, I've only been trading for 2 years, year and a half properly. So obviously there's still some things I need to figure out. But yeah, that's the gist of my entries. So yeah, I'm not really going to look at GJ sells right now, because it's only 10 pips to there and 10 pips. Technically, you could look at, because you got a range 1, range 2. Range 1 here, range 2 there. If you break below here, you can go break even here, TP here, but I like to wait for a bigger range. Plus, we're sort of just ranging. And then Goldie, we're creating some nice pullback here. So if we can break above now, the other thing we can do on gold is wait for price to come back. So if price comes back enough, and then we do what we did here, sort of close bullish, then we can continue to take a break of the high of this candle that closes bullish potentially. That's another setup I take, but it's quite rare. Support resistance. It usually is a bit more swing trade, a bit longer. You can see this one was my biggest win last month. But yeah, it's price creates a high, comes back, creates support or resistance by closing bearish or bullish, and then you take it to fill this range to the break of the high. Very simple. It's literally just utilizing the fact that the market moves like this, and you take buy here, buy here. Simple. Heard of the 2-bar strategy? Yeah, I mean, 2 candle theory, from what my understanding is essentially, if you look at the hourly, right? I used to trade it on the hourly. if you look at the probability of if a candle closes bearish or bullish, overall in the market, the next candle is going to close the same. Obviously, you know, I don't think you can trade just based off that, but on probability, oh, this closed no top wick, I just realized. So you have to be careful. I didn't even see that. But yeah, if you look at a candle and it closes bullish, chances are next candle is going to close bullish, okay? And then when you combine that with price action, like you use breakouts, so if price breaks out of a level, I could say here, price breaks out of a level and it was bullish, chances are next candles are also going to be bullish, okay? And when you combine that with the way I traded it, where you draw this, I didn't know what this meant, but I just used it. And if you get a 50% retracement, the price comes back and then continues bullish, it could look like this on the 5 minute. So closure was here. If you come back on the 5 minute and then break the highs again, that's when you can look to take buys. But realistically, all it is just what I'm doing now. It's just a retest, isn't it? So that's how I used to trade using 2 candle theory. But I mean, when you think about it, it's all the exact same thing. Like, I used to take from key levels and breakouts, and that's all I did. And then I waited for a retracement at the opening of the candle and then a flip. So it's pretty much the exact same as what I'm doing now. It's just a bit less complicated. Not that this I think is complicated, but it's just, there's a few more things I look at, I think. Like for instance, when I was using 2 candle theory, I didn't have a clue about sort of seeing if a 4 hour has a bottom wick or a 1 hour has a bottom wick, or seeing what the daily's doing. I just looked and saw if an hourly had a breakout or it bounced from a key level, like here, the next candle is likely to close bearish, so I'm going to take a sell. That's literally what I traded, and it worked. It's just, I was, like I said before, I don't think I was quite mentally there because I couldn't handle drawdown yet. I took a loss and I started doubting it, and yeah. Yeah, it's turning out to be a pretty chill session now. There's not much going on. I am a bit concerned at this hourly not having a top wick. But I think now that the 30 minutes closed bearish, I'll probably just wait for the hourly to close anyway. Yeah. Yeah, so I think even if this closes above, because the previous hourly didn't have a top wick, I'm just going to wait for this hourly to close. Because candles with no top wicks or bottom wicks tend to go the other way, from my experience. Not always, but you see here, no top wick, boom. No bottom wick, price comes down. It may go down, yes, but then it reverses. If this goes, it goes. It's not something I'm gonna be annoyed about like this, because this followed my rules. But if this breaks out and then goes, I don't care, because it doesn't follow my plan. Because I don't take trades when the previous hourly closed no top wick. But yeah, this one was a bit annoying, not gonna lie. I might re-watch it, just see what I said. What I was thinking at the time. This is gonna be weird. Right, so where was it? Let's have a look. Entire looking good, and then it just goes on and seals the range in the last minute. Wait, hold up. All right, let's see what I said here. Oh, calm down. Hate it when that happens. You're about to enter, looking good, and then it just goes on and fills the range in the last minute. Alright, I'm gonna wait and see if we can create a bottom wick here. And then potentially flip and break these highs. We could have break-even range right about here. Let's see how this goes. So I'm gonna wait to see if we can create a bottom wick. Then potentially we could take it on the flip. But if we just push and break these highs, I may just enter our stops below the hourly low. So about 19, 18 pips. Below. Go on, create a bottom wick. Bit of a bottom wick. But likely if we break these highs, I'll enter a buy position. So I'm not in here. Yeah, so literally just straight up doubt, I think, because we even said like if it breaks the highs, we're gonna enter. But yeah, oh well. Do I have any other pairs you are eyeing up to trade in the future? At this point, no. I'm just looking at gold and GJ. I traded EJ for a bit, but I find that these just move like the most during London and New York on average. And I don't think I could trade more than 2 pairs using this, not gonna lie. I really don't think I could. Plus, I don't really think I need to, you know, there's no point. I don't know, maybe I'll test a few other pairs, see how they go, but yeah, at this stage I'll just stick to these. Yeah, so if this closes above, I won't be taking it. I'm gonna wait for the hourly to close. Yeah, like the way I like to think about these trades, which you missed, is when you think about it in a year's time, you're not even going to remember it. So like, it's not like one trade is going to influence your trading career. So you just got to let it go, you know, even though it's hard. Like, I'm pretty pissed that it went, but that's trading. How does price look above this area? Alright, so we got clean range above here as well. So that's interesting. Wow, it's a nice flip. Yeah, I'm just gonna wait for the hourly. GJ has literally not moved. There was actually gold trade I missed out on yesterday as well. I wasn't really thinking about trading yesterday because I got home from being away, but you had a little area here. And then you broke out of this area. And the daily was bullish as well, I do believe, or it was almost doji. But yeah, you had a breakout here and then a flip. So 15-minute breakout, but unfortunately this range was just a bit small for me. It was only 10 pips to the top, so I didn't end up taking it. Like I had my buy levels, I think, above here, and then it just went and filled the range. So yeah, but like trades like that I don't get annoyed at because like I planned ahead and it didn't fill my plan, whereas this I even said anyway. I feel like I've talked about it way too much. Right, so yeah, we're gonna wait for an hourly closure here. In other news, for those cricket fans, what do you guys think about what happened in the Ashes? If you don't know what I'm referring to, I shall show you. I think it was 100% fine. Like he literally caught it and then just threw it straight away without... But I don't know, maybe I'm biased because I'm Australian. Like that is out, I reckon. Like usually I would say no, but because he just got it and then threw it straight away, I think it's fine. But anyway, it's a good game. But even I'm pretty sure the UK Prime Minister was even saying it was cheating, which I don't think it was. GJ is still deciding on what it wants. Yeah. Has not moved. Look at these gaps in the weekly. Play a quick game of chess. That's easy. So let's see if we can get a closure. We got a daily wick to fill. We got the 4 hour pushing bullish. We're still an hour to go. 1 hour flipping. The only way we won't take this if it closes no top wick, but it'll be a 30-minute breakout. Hopefully we don't push too much. Or we could take a wick fill, but let's see. 5 minutes is a very long time. So yeah, if this closes above, we need to wait for a bottom wick first on the hourly. And how big is this? Yeah, it's getting a bit small. So yeah, I'd much rather a wick fill. So 30-minute closes here, we get a bottom wick, and then we can flip and fill the wick. Stops will likely be the previous hourly low. But yeah, if this pushes too much and it starts getting down to like below 15, it's not really worth taking. Because then we'll have a 25 pip stop for a 15, 16 pip gain. Yeah, if this doesn't close above, I think that's probably it for the day, unless the next 15 creates a wick down and then closes above, or the next 30. But yeah, it'll probably be, if this doesn't close above, I would suspect we're going to range for a bit until New York, or maybe the rest of the day, considering it's 4th of July, but we'll see. And GJ has not moved. It's crazy to think, like, a year ago, I wouldn't have even, maybe a year ago, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, I don't think I even would have realized or known that this market is ranging, which is crazy. Like, I wouldn't have even conceptualized that this market is not moving and it's not, doesn't have volume, so I should stay out of it. Like, I would have looked at something, like I would have seen, or breakout of this level. It's just cool how your trading knowledge changes over time. Right, so now we're pushing bullish. Well, we need to make a bottom wick first, so let's see what happens here. I'd like to see a bottom wick back down to at least 1927.52 to retest this level before flipping. Yeah, so let's see if we can get an hourly bottom wick. But yeah, I won't take this if the hourly doesn't create a bottom wick. How did I set the Forex calendar just on today? You just go, you click on individual days instead of the entire week. So you just click on a single day. That actually took me a while to figure out too, don't worry. Okay, so let's see if we can come down to here. That'll be a 6-ish bottom wick. If we just shoot up now, yeah, I'm not going to take it, because I want to see a big bottom wick on the hourly. So yeah, that's the little things which I've picked up. The difference between this, what happened here, and what's happening here is here you already had a bottom wick on the hourly, okay, and you already had the hourly close above, whereas here, you know, you're just pushing down. I mean, 2 pip bottom wick, and here's also 2 pips, but it's just you have a retest and then a push. It's just little things like that which you pick up. The knowledge you get is system dependent though, as that consolidation area is prime for my system to add trades to initial bias. Yeah, 100%. Like, there's always going to be differing analysis and ideas of the market, because there's no way you actually understand what's happening in the market. Like, when I say I want to wait for the hourly to create a bottom wick first, I don't know why that happens. Like, it could be because I don't know, banks are trying to stop people out. I don't know. Maybe it could just be that's just how the market moves. That's how the algorithms that buy and sell the market operate. I have no clue. It's just something I've picked up from my experience. And another trader is going to have a different explanation or a different understanding, and it's all going to be different. So it's just sort of, that's why I always say, just if you're making money, there's literally nothing else you have to worry about. If you're making money, it really doesn't matter. Like, you can trade however you want. There's no wrong or right way. And like you said, yeah, that's the beauty of trading right there. Okay, so now we are coming down nicely. If we break these highs now, so I'm not going to take the flip, I'm going to take the break of the highs because we've already pushed here. So I'm going to take the flip and we're going to have 26 pip stops, I think. I want to see it push down a bit further, but that is a 5 pip bottom wick. If this starts pushing a bit, I'm going to add a buy stop. I just don't want to be stopped in by spreads here, so I'm just going to wait a tiny bit. But if we start flipping, I'll place a buy stop at the break of this high. Break of previous candle high. Other option is this candle closes like a head tail. So we close like this. So respecting this level, but bearish, and then at the break of these highs, we can enter. Because all that is simply price coming up, rejecting, and then continuing. But yeah, I'm happy with this hourly bottom wick now. In terms of how I would manage this if we enter, because it's a 30-minute, so it's a 30-minute breakout, I'd wait for a 30-minute closure below here. If we get a 15 closure, I'd still hold because it could still flip. But if we get a 30 closure below here, that's when I'd exit. But yeah, we're not in yet. Let's see if we can flip. But yeah, like I said, this could lose, you know, even though it's a very similar setup to the one here, it could still lose and we just have to deal with it. Like, I'm sure that's happened to you guys a lot before, where you miss out on a trade and then the next day you see another trade that's the exact same, but it loses. And that could happen, you know, we got to deal with it. Aggressively, you could technically put stops at the low here at 14 pips, and I may do that now because we've created a very nice bottom wick here. Let's see here. But yeah, if we start pushing above here, I'm gonna put a buy stop. Yeah, I'd rather have a bigger stop and then just manage. So if we close below, then I'd exit, because good chance we don't push all the way down if we end up flipping. But yeah. These beats are nice, yeah. They're a bit better than that YouTube video live I had. It's a big retest here. So I'm not concerned with how this closes, because it's a 30-minute closure. So like this 15 could close below and then the next one could break the highs and it'd still be valid. But just a bit of low volume right now. But the 15 setting up nicely for a head tail. But it will just be a 30-minute flip realistically. Or 30-minute break of high. The other thing we need to think about is the 4 hours closing at the end of this hour. And it's likely to create a top wick. So that means if this pushes, it's likely going to come back a bit before the 4 hour closes. So if this doesn't work out soon, like it doesn't flip soon, that's when we just got to let it go. But if this 15 closes above, that'll be really good, and that'll be nice for a continuation. I'm just trying to figure out where I would go break even. It's hard to go break even here because there's not much to work with. You can't really use the wick. It's only 3 pips, 4 pips, and there's nothing here. So it may just be like 10 pips or something. Just go break even because maybe on the 5 minute there's something maybe around here. I may even take this at the break of the current high now, just because we've closed so nicely on the 15. Let's see here. But very nice price action here. Hourly is not the nicest. We have a little bit of a weird closing where it just flipped but didn't really move. It's not bad. But yeah, if we start pushing bullish now, that will be great. But again, if this doesn't happen for like quite some time, I'm gonna just let it go because we got the 4 hour closing. It's lacking a bit of volume right now. Interesting as well, GJ has pushed down at the start of the hour and not up. So if it flips, there's a good chance it's going to continue bullish. And GJ and gold usually go the opposite ways. So that's something just interesting to think about. So yeah, I'm in no rush here. don't want to prematurely enter this. Because if we don't break the highs, you can see on the 5-minute, it'll just be like a consolidation still. But if you do break the highs, you've created support and then continued. So really don't want to get entered too early here. Technically, this could also work with 30. But yeah, I prefer it not to because we got the 4-hour closing, but maybe. Let's see. Definitely struggling a bit for volume here. Just slow down. But yeah, if this 30-minute closes back below, that'll be it for London. We still got a lot of time. 9 minutes is a lot of time. But yeah, I think the position will look something like this with stops around the lows here. Especially if we get a 30 closure above. There's no point holding it longer than below this 30 low. Maybe a bit more aggressive, but there's no point holding it much longer than that. Because you've got a clear level of rejection. Yeah. this doesn't happen soon, I'm probably just going to wait for the 30 to close. Yeah, if it doesn't happen in the next 1 or 2 minutes, I'm probably just going to wait for the 30 to close. Because then, you know, even if we enter in, if it's less than sort of 4 minutes left, then the next 30 is going to open. It's going to create a bottom wick. And yeah, you got to survive that as well. So if it doesn't happen soon, I'm just going to wait for the 30. It's been a tough day, I guess. It hasn't been straightforward entries. The entries have been tough. But yeah, it's been an interesting, good day. A good day. Not a hard day, a good day. Because I learned from my mistake. I'm sure you guys learned as well. And it was interesting market conditions. So let's see where this 30 closes. But yeah, it looks like maybe that's the end of this. Who knows? Maybe we still close above. Then we could potentially look for a continuation. Let's see. We're rejecting very hard here. Let's let's do the Wordle. I don't think we're gonna flip. I got it on my other screen here, so we flip. Ooh. Right? No. Great. If I don't get this. Great. I swear. Great. No way. I really butchered this. What? Trait? Could it be that double T? No. E-rate? Alright, so it's got to be one of these. It's not B? No. It wasn't K. Srate? That can't be a word. So what was it? Ah. Oh, that is stupid. Stupid irate. What does that even mean? great anger. That's how I feel right now. Well, yeah, we're not going to get a closure unless in a minute and a half this flips. But yeah, that was a really interesting day. Lots of things to talk about and to learn from. In terms of what I'm going to look at for New York, I'm going to be careful because it's a bank holiday, first of all. But we now have a new resistance formed up here. The only thing is this range isn't very big. If you look 15 minute, how big is it? Oh, it's still 20 pips. Okay, so that's not that bad. That's a range you could potentially look at. You've also got support forming here. But in order to take sells, I need to wait for a range 2 breakout. So I'm going to need this and then another range and then a continuation. Okay. So until that happens, I'm not sure where I can start looking for sells. Likely below here we'll have sells, or maybe below here, I don't know. Okay. GJ, yeah, GJ is just in a big old range. So we're just going to wait before taking anything because we're just ranging, you know. But yeah, shame about this at the start. Yeah. Things like that happen though. So anyway, have a good New York session, a good week, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Great session.